everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you guys a very exciting, at least for me, video, and that is, let me grab them, should have been more prepared, and that is my review of the Raven Cycle. So this series includes the Raven Boys, the Dream Thieves, Blue Lily Lily Blue, and the Raven King, all by Maggie Stiefvater. This was my first time ever reading this series. Any of the books I've never read before. And I really got interested in reading this when I had seen it on TikTok a few times, and some of my favorite booktubers had talked about it, and I got the general feeling that this series is for other people what the Shadowhunter books are to me. It's their nostalgic childhood favorite YA fantasy. Anyway, so this series is about let me think here. 5 teenagers, right? And they're in this mystical town, kind of very much what's that called? I can't, not Forks. Wherever the Vampire Diaries takes place. I don't know. Anyway, this mystical town that seems to attract a lot of supernatural beings, and it's on a ley line. And when I was describing the series, or the first book at least, to my friends, I was like, it's very Twilight meets Pretty Little Liars meets Supernatural meets Vampire Diaries, those kinds of vibes. And basically the premise of the story is Blue, who is a psychic's daughter, has been told by every psychic she's ever met her entire life that if she kisses her true love will die. That's like basic, I mean, that's the tagline for most of them. And so that's where we kicked off, and I am going to say this review is going to be spoiler filled, so that's your warning. Leave now if you don't wish to be spoiled. And we're just going to start off by talking about some of my general opinions over all of them. So one of the things I loved most was the found family and friendship dynamics between Blue, Gansey, Ronan, Adam, and Noah, the Gangsey. I loved all of them. I loved all of their relationships with each other and them as a group, and how the dynamics changed over all 4 books. I really, really enjoyed that, and the found family trope is possibly one of my favorites. I love it so much. And so that was probably, like, it was crooked. That was probably, like, if not the biggest, one of the biggest reasons I really enjoyed this series so much. Another thing I liked going on the back of that was the character development of all of them. I felt was really strong. You really got to know all 5 of them. Maybe not necessarily Noah as much, but I loved him. Like, he was my favorite one. But you really got to know all of them and all of their complexities, and seeing how they dealt with everything that happened to them was really interesting. So I really liked that. One thing I did want to know about the writing, which really threw me off in the first one, was she uses English or British spellings for some words, which really confused me. One of the biggest ones I remember was she spelled curb like C-U-R-B as K-E-R-B, and I was really confused. I was really confused, and I actually Googled, like, where is this? And it was in Virginia, and I was like, okay. So that was pretty strange. Also, I wanted to mention the first 2 books, I felt kind of a disconnect between me and the characters. Like, I didn't feel like I was as emotionally invested, but then in Blue Lily Blue, and then I cried when I read Blue Lily Lily Blue and when I read The Raven King. So definitely developed over those 2 books is where my emotional attachment really started setting in. I'm going to talk more in depth about this, but she really managed to surprise me many times over the course of these books, which I thought was odd because I really did not expect to be surprised by these. You know, like, I'm reading them as an adult, so, and they were all things that I felt like I could have figured out, but we'll talk about that later. And one of the other last overall things I wanted to point out was I felt she did a really good job with all of the side characters. I don't like using, I can't like hold these. I don't like using the term side characters because I feel like it's derogatory a lot of the times, but I really fell in love with Mr. Gray and Jesse and the women of 300 Fox Way and Matthew and Henry towards the end. I mean, I felt like she did a really good job of making them all distinctive, and especially the villains were pretty distinctive and personable. So I really liked that. So now getting into each individual book, this is where the spoilers are really going to come into play. So the Raven Boys, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Before just ranking, a general ranking of them, Blue Lily, Lily Blue was my favorite, and then the Raven King was a close second, and then the Raven Boys, and then the Dream Thieves was my least favorite. So there's that. I did find myself being, in this one at least like the first half of this, I was more interested in the boys than in Blue, which is funny now because now reflecting back, Blue is my favorite character, ended up being. But at first I was really more interested in the boys, so I thought I would point that out and their dynamics. Oh my gosh. What else about this one? I really liked the pacing of this one. I felt like the build-up was really nice. It was a good first book, you know, like we're establishing how they all met and their backgrounds and how they're all intertwined, and it wasn't overly magical. It still felt kind of, that was the undertone. So I really liked that. I appreciated it in its first bookness. Now for more specific things, the thing that surprised me in this one was Noah being, how do you pronounce his last name? Zerny? Or Welk's friend, the Latin teacher's friend who killed him. I kind of figured out from the beginning that Noah was like a vampire or a ghost, so I had kind of figured that out, but it really shocked me when it was revealed to us that he was actually the one who Welk had killed in the forest, and his life was Gansy's. They traded lives. That really shocked me. I remember being like, oh my god. So I don't know what that says about me or the book, but there you go. I also wanted to mention, so as I said, I kind of like the boys better than Blue. I was more interested in their point of views. I really liked Adam in this one. Like, he was my favorite. I will say overall, I am a Gansy stan. I ended up being a Gansy stan. I don't know why. It's just where my cards fell. I know there are a lot of Adam and Roden stans, but I'm a Gansy girl. But I also really loved Noah. Like, that was my homeboy. Anywho, so going off the back of that, I really loved Noah and Blue's relationship. Oh my god, they were so cute. Just a cute little innocent friendship was awesome. And then I didn't really like Ronan in this one. But the one scene I started to like him was when they went to Adam's house and Ronan like beat the crap out of Adam's dad. I was like, thank God, you know, awesome, amazing, 10 out of 10. I really like that scene. Last thing about this one, the ending, for the whole book, it wasn't like that magical, and then I felt like she really started throwing curveballs at us at the end, and the ending, I remember it being really fast, and I need things spelled out for me, so I was a little confused at the ending, and I'm still kind of confused, but hey, there's that one. So moving on to the next one, which is the Dream Thieves. I also gave this one a 4 out of 5. As I said, my least favorite. And it's kind of funny because I was more interested in the boys in the first one, and then this one I just missed Blue. I really needed some more point of views from her perspective. I mean, she was in it, but this one was really Ronan's book. And as someone who came off of the Raven Boys, like, not really caring and or liking Ronan, you know, it was slower and it went like really off from where I thought the story was going. I did think this one was the funniest of all four of them. So some specific funny moments I remember and will remember was when Ronan like threw Noah out of the window. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. I laughed out loud. And then also Ronan calling Blue and Adam, quote, the poverty twins. I really had to put the book down and take a moment to collect myself after that one. So, another thing that shocked me in this one was Ronan being the Grey Warren, because I felt like the mystery of this one was, what's the Grey Warren? Why is Mr. Grey here? Who are these people? And so him being the Grey Warren really shocked me. Not so much the dreaming aspect, but just him being the Grey Warren, like the coveted thing, was really shocking to me. I was surprised. And then another thing I felt like I should have really figured out was Mr. Grey being the one who killed Niall Lynch, or Ronan's dad. I was shocked. I was open-mouthed, flabbergasted at that, and it's looking back, I'm like, that was so obvious, but I just did not know. And also in this one is when I really loved Mr. Grey, one of my favorites. I just love that man. That's my boy. So overall, I just felt like this one was a little less cohesive with the rest of them. Like, this one, I don't want to say it was a sore thumb, but like the overall feeling of all of them, this one definitely stuck out as an outlier. But not like in a necessarily bad way. It was just different. Does that make sense? Okay. So there's the Dream Thieves. Now on to my favorite, which was Blue Lily, Lily Blue. I didn't think I would like this one just based off the title, but it was my favorite. So I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. You know, I wanted more blue when we got it. I loved it. And then this one, I really like in fantasy series, especially when the author can take a few moments to include some like ordinary, mundane, domestic type scenes that just endear you more to the characters. And maybe that's why I liked this one, or maybe that's why I got so invested with this one because that's when we really started getting those. So like, for instance, Adam making the hand bomb, dreaming the hand bomb for Adam's chapped hands. Oh my gosh. Yes, please. Everything around Blue and Gansey, oh my god, I loved them. But like when they would call each other late at night and like he had to talk to her to go to sleep, and when they were both feeling anxious, they were each other's escape. And then I really loved the scene when Blue's driving the pig. Oh my gosh, I loved that whole thing. So yeah, a couple of things that shocked me in this one. Matthew being a dream creature threw me off my game. Again, open-mouthed, shocked. I just could not believe it. Also, when they found the first tomb and it was the woman, Gwenllian, I don't know, the daughter, that really shocked me as well. It was really intense and I was like really shocked. Some sad moments. When Jesse died. I loved Jesse. Jesse, again, side characters, I just loved him. And so when he died, I cried. I also cried. When did I cry? Oh, I cried when Persephone died. I did not see that one coming either, and she just died and I was sobbing. I cried with Blue. I really did. Another scene I liked to mention was when Adam was in the courtroom with his father and like the Gangsey walked in, he just kind of accepted them and appreciated them being there. I felt that like that was a pivotal moment and I really appreciated it because coming off of the Dream Thieves, Adam was no longer like my favorite, and so I really liked that character arc right there. It was nice. And then I also just felt like the last 10% was awesome. Everything that happened was just awesome. So, on to the final one, The Raven King. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars as well. I really couldn't decide between Lily Blue and The Raven King, but I do feel like the Lily Blue was my favorite. So this one overall was more ominous and creepy, especially the first half. I was really creeped out. Again, I loved all of the Gansey and Blue action, especially like the Vancouver house party. Yes, give me more. I just loved them too. I really liked Henry and his introduction, and I wish we had some more. Well, no. I really liked Henry, but I did feel like he replaced Noah, and because Noah was like, from the beginning, one of my favorite characters, it really saddened me, and I'll touch on that a bit later, but I just wish we had gotten some more Noah when he wasn't like evil. I felt like this was a really good final book. Like it tied a lot of strings from the first book and all the other books together pretty well. It answered a lot of questions. Some questions were still a little vague to me, but hey, you know, whatever. I liked that when they actually did finally find Glendower's tomb, it like that whole sequence of events was told only from Gansey. And I loved Gansey so much, but I felt like it was appropriate because it really was his search. He was the one obsessed with it. And by that point, I mean, they were all really invested and they had to find him. But from the beginning, it was Gansey's thing. And so I felt like that was a strong, just like kind of editorial decision to do. I really liked it. And it made me more invested because I was feeling everything Gansey was feeling. So some things like events I wanted to mention was like basically when Adam attacked Ronan, and then Ronan being unmade, and then Gansey dying, and then Gansey's resurrection. All of those things were really intense. I was crying heavily. Piper dying, like everything. And that last 20% was absolutely insane. And I felt like she did a really good job with the suspense. I did cry over Ronan's mom dying. And then I was bawling like a baby when Gansey died. One thing I wanted to mention off of that, I would have liked Gansey's death, and more accurately his reincarnation, to have been better explained, because by the end I was just kind of like, he like came back to life kind of, and then it went into the epilogue and I was like, well, okay, so Cabe's water made him, but is he Gansey? Like, is he the same person? I didn't really understand that whole scenario. So I feel like that could have been explained maybe a bit better. And then also, this is just a reader preference thing, but it did contribute to my overall feelings. I'm a person who, at the end of a series, I want like a 50-page epilogue where we see every character. I want to know what's happening. I want to know what happened. I want like some foreshadowing into the future, and like you can guess how it all ends up. That's what I want. And she did that with most everyone. I would have liked to have seen Gansey's point of view. I know we saw him through Blue's eyes in the epilogue, but we didn't get a point of view from him. And so that was disappointing. And then also, no one ever said anything about Noah, I don't think, in the epilogue. And so I was just kind of wondering, did he go away? Was he at rest? Did they put him to rest? Was he still lurking around? What happened to Mr. Gray? What happened to all the women of 300 Fox Way? Like that kind of thing. I just wanted to know what happened to everyone. And like would have liked to know where she pictured their stories going. But other than that, I thought it was a strong, I'm like looking back over everything. a strong ending. And I have to say, when I got to the end of the epilogue and like closed the book, I did tear up. Just like closing the book, I teared up. So at the end, I was really invested. And so there's my review for these. I feel like I had a lot to say, but also not a lot to say. I'm not really sure. Overall, it was a pretty good series. I wish I had read it a couple of years ago. I felt like it would have meant more to me. Would I reread them? Yes. Will I keep them forever? I don't know. Probably not, because it's not like my absolute favorite, one of my favorites of all time. But I am glad I read them. I'm glad I can look at the memes and the fan art and know what's happening. And I feel like their story will be a memorable one. So, all in all, a good reading time. I did read these, all of them, in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. So, there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you're having a great day. Love you guys. Let me put them down to do my outro. Peace out. Thank you so much for watching. I did that prematurely. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, maybe, possibly. Peace out. Goodbye in the video.